G'day guys, welcome to PBHQ Live. This is episode number 353. I'm Dwayne Nichols. I'm live in Wagga, and for some reason my comments aren't loading here on my second screen. Let's try that out again and get this right. If you are in those comments, let me know who you are and where you are, and if you played over the weekend, what event you played. If you have an event coming up that you'll be playing soon, drop a comment and say g'day. I see that Brad Short is in and Esteban is in from the Wicked Warriors and Wicked Assassins. So sort of partner teams. Had a couple of the Wicked Assassins here in Wagga over the weekend. In fact, yeah, let us know if you were here at the Wagga 4-play event, if you were playing the Malaysian Xball event, if you are playing one of the 3-mans in Sydney or Melbourne this weekend, or if you're playing the Australian Bushball Masters at Heartbreak Ridge. Actually got the HBR shirt, courtesy of Jono, up in the background. Kyle from Elite One is in. Michael Namoski is in. Connor Johnston is in from PB Athlete. I'm actually wearing, can I get it up? There we go, the PB Athlete shirt tonight here on the show. So thank you everybody for joining in. And if you can hit the like button, give the show a little thumbs up there on YouTube. Share the show, of course. Sub to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. I would appreciate that. And I just posted recently too. I've started uploading some clips from yesterday here at Wagga as shorts on YouTube. If you're not familiar, shorts is essentially YouTube's version of Instagram Reels or TikTok. Same sort of idea. And some of those videos have been doing quite well on YouTube. A whole bunch of people checking them out, including one poor guy whose voice breaks. Matt, I think his name is, from HBR. Yeah, really funny video, and people seem to be liking that one. David from HBR is in. John Abello from Australian Bushball Masters is in as well. I said so it's Broken Shackle. So and this is what happens with YouTube names. Not everyone has their actual name. Said that Wagga was cold, and look, I totally agree. It was pretty miserable. But to be fair, that was like the best day we've had in Wagga in 2 weeks here. We've had miserable weather here, and we had a decent run on Sunday. The sun came out, albeit briefly. It didn't rain like proper rain. So yeah, that was about as good as we could have hoped for. Billy saying, were the boys well behaved? I hope they were. Yeah, of course they were, mate. Actually, legend bunch of guys. And in fact, on Saturday when they dropped into the field, I was setting up the field by myself on Saturday, and that was always my intention. And I was going to have some guys come in later on the Saturday afternoon to help me sort of position everything to finally get it completely set up. But the boys from the Wicked Assassin showed up early, seen me doing it solo, and came out and gave me a hand. So yeah, legends, really appreciated that. Lachlan from PPG is in, and Susan from Florida is in at the moment as well. Let's get on with the show. Paintballshop.com, they have, oh, no, I just clicked that. They have extended their sale on the Shocker amps, and this also goes over to the Lux TM40s. So both the Lux TM40s and the Shocker amps are on sale at the moment, and you'll save over $300 at least on the Shockers. So if you go to paintballshop.com, and you can probably see from that graphic that I just had up there, the Shockers in particular are available in a whole bunch of colors. I didn't look at the TM40s on the website today, but I know that they've had some very limited editions, some splashes, some custom NOs and that type of thing available. Actually, one of the guys, I think it was from HBR, I typically don't comment on too many people's guns. I've seen just about most guns and colorways and that type of thing. But the guy who had like a Tequila Sunrise Lux, like that red, orange, yellow fade Lux on the weekend, man, that was a sweet NO on that gun. Reese from PPG is in as well. And Namoski saying the Wicked Assassins were great. Yeah, and considering those guys have been playing paintball, I think Brent has been playing for 9 months, and the other boys were saying that it's something like 6 and 7 months each. They held their own. I think they had a win and a draw or something, and they were playing against some teams that have got, well, like Southeast Cartel, essentially all of them are pro players now. Asylum, all of them could have been pro players, and a couple are. Yeah, it's there was a lot of experienced players out there, and those guys did themselves no embarrassment whatsoever out there competing. What's that? Loving the dire grips. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, let's not go into that. Anyone who owned a DM like 14, 15 and could get the bolt out without issue and get the grips off without issue, genius. What a task that was. And a quick shout out from Gladiator to the guys from Asylum. And here's a average photo of me alongside the guys who won the event over the weekend. You can kind of tell the snake side on our field over the weekend, even though it is synthetic turf. Like I said, we've had 2 weeks essentially of rain every day. Whilst not a lot of rain, it has been consistently raining. And the two boys on the left were on the snake side. That's why they're not so clean. And the guys over on the Dorito side, maybe they just didn't get shot, but they are looking pristine in that photo. So if you, like us at Asylum, want to use Gladiator products, they make the best tanks in the game. Go to gladiator.com.au to find your nearest stockist and pick one up. Luke from Make It Rain in Dubbo is also joining in at the moment. And Jade in for Lachlan from PPG. And then I seen Reese in for Lachlan from this might be a thing. But yeah. And Lachlan was our thumbnail model for tonight's episode of the show. So if you've seen that prior to the show going live and thought, wow, that man's handsome, you're correct. He is handsome. That's Lachlan from PPG, who's being represented by a whole bunch of other people here at the moment watching the show. And he was here at the Wagga 4 play over the weekend, and I snapped that image along the way. Some news to talk about around the world other than just the events that were happening. The NXL Europe was on over the weekend, and this isn't this is the venue, the CPPS venue in just outside in Birmingham, obviously in the UK. TonTon from France got the win. Paris Camp Carnage, or Carnage as it is often said on the webcast, those guys got second, so it was a French 1-2, and Verse got third, and Joy Division got fourth after Joy Division, in fact, had gone through the prelims undefeated. I wasn't able to watch any of this. I wasn't able to do anything outside of working at my field essentially this weekend. Didn't catch any of the Malaysian Xball League that I'm going to talk about in a moment, which had a webcast. Didn't catch any of the NXL Europe webcast as well. But the CPPS venue, man, they've got that grass field. They've got a synthetic turf field. I think they run 3 or 4 fields at the venue, and Ainsley and the guys there, it is just like absolutely world class. And I know a lot of the teams in the UK, well, it's where the major UK series is, but I know a lot of the teams throughout Europe really look forward to going over for that event just to play there. So it looks so good. Gaddy is just joining in at the moment, and yeah, you would have been able to see some footage of Gaddy from some of those little videos that I put up in on the YouTube Shorts. There was some I captured 2 great pieces of footage of Gaddy over the course of the weekend, and yeah, it's translated really well to YouTube Shorts or TikTok or whatever. Just in that style of video, they're short and they're sharp, and it came through really well. So check those out if you haven't already. And the other bit of news that I had to mention tonight before we get into the events was that the Wicked Assassins, Wade here, Alex and the guys, they were featured on Triple J in a bit of a video that, I don't know if I would say it went viral, but it has gone, it's been proven quite popular on Instagram in the last few days. So Michael Hing, the guy on the right-hand side of the image over there, it was his Bucks party organized by the guys at Triple J, and the prank was that he was supposed to be playing against other Triple J staff and his co-host, but they switched out some of those other players for the Wicked Assassins, who proceeded to give Michael Hing a fair touch-up. It is fair to say he copped heaps of hits. It was a good laugh, and it's good promotion for Paintball. Word got around. The videos had heaps of views. I've had mates. I had my cousin who lives in Queensland text the link to me. I had a mate of mine who I grew up playing footy with text the link to me. People from outside of the paintball bubble, so to speak, were sending that to me and sharing it around. So that's really cool to see. It gets paintball in more mainstream media in front of more people. In fact, the Wagga event over the weekend, it also was featured on the local news here in Wagga tonight. I was just texting back and forth with the presenter who organised that. She said at about 10 o'clock tonight, hopefully it will be uploaded to their website. So if I'm still awake, I might share it tonight. Otherwise, keep an eye out for tomorrow. It was only like a little 20 or 30-second piece where they mentioned what happened. But any coverage in mainstream media is good for paintball. Tom Thorne is just joining in as well from Dubbo, who was here playing over the weekend. And the Make It Rain guys had a great weekend as well. Really, they get better every time they come over. And it's Tom, Bray, solid players, pretty much have been as long as I've known them. But they've got Lockie coming up at the moment. And to play the event and do so well without Lana, without Luke, massive shout out to those guys. I like seeing good things happening in Dubbo. Dubbo was sort of the catalyst for us here in Wagga getting into the sport. So it's good to be able to see them coming back around after it had dropped off for a little while. Results from the Malaysian Xball League over the weekend. This is a pro paintball reload. If you've seen that video that went viral years and years ago of like a professional on the reloads, this is a cracking picture of someone who's just getting it all wrong. I like that photo. The photo's by Juan Mad from Axe Media. Duckside got the win, as they so often do, finding themselves on the podium. A really quality team, Duckside, over there throughout Asia generally, but in Malaysia in particular. Savages got second, and the Wise Guys, which is the local team to Kenyan Paintball, the Kenyan Wise Guys, got third in Division 1. And then this event, they had 12 teams in Division 2 and 8 teams in Division 1, so 20 teams playing over the 2 days. Dave from the event said it was an absolutely jam-packed weekend. Games running non-stop, averaged 5 points per game. It was just going a massive weekend, and he said that they're really, like, COVID is behind them in Malaysia. Player numbers aren't affected. Everyone's back on board. Teams are out training. Teams are out playing events. That can't be said everywhere here in Australia, and I'm going to be talking about that in a minute when I talk about events that are coming up. But in Malaysia, they're kicking goals, doing really good things. In Division 2, again, love this photo. They use pink paint, as you might be able to tell from this image. Wax's Legion got the win in Division 2. The Kings squad got second. Mad Ducks got third. There was also STK Entourage playing in the Division 2 who didn't feature in finals, and the Nomads who didn't feature in finals. So those two teams, STK Entourage, it was 3 players from here in Australia as well as 3 players from Singapore that came together to play under the STK banner. Spoke to them earlier. They said they sort of started out pretty slowly, and by the time they got their groove, there wasn't much chance of making finals, and only 4 teams went through straight to semi-finals in that division. So if you weren't in the top 4 of the 12, you missed out, which STK Entourage did. And Nomads were the same. Spoke with Alex earlier today. He said very similar things. The first couple of games, they were really slow out of the blocks, weren't doing all that well. They got it together and started getting a couple of wins later in the prelims, but it was too late. And again, they did not feature in finals, but really cool to see Entourage in particular, who have gone overseas something like 5 or 6 times now this year. And the Nomads, who I think that might have been their second trip for the year, heading out to play international paintball. Really, really cool. Danny's saying, I hope it gets better soon. What? I don't know what, I might have missed what that would be. You're talking about the just numbers around generally off the back of COVID? I absolutely hope so too. And I think that field owners, we play a big role in that. Myself as a field owner, guys like Mike Wybrew. Mike's one of the best in the game. He's been running a paintball series consecutively for longer than anyone in the game, and he does it really well. We've just got to keep plugging away and keep doing everything that we can to keep players interested in training and playing events. And that's part of what happened with the Wagga 4 play, and the reason that it was a capped price event. I know that funds are tight for some players. We even had a player on the Asylum team. They played with 4 over the weekend. There was a player who was supposed to be playing, couldn't get the money together for the weekend. That type of thing is sort of a common thread with a lot of events at the moment, which is why we did this cap price event. Really great weekend, or great day, the Sunday. The feedback that I've got from all the teams has been really positive, which I'm pleased with. Obviously, Asylum, my local guys, getting the win. This photo is Southeast Cartel, a photo of them showing off the glassware for second place. And HBR, who have finished in a position to play off for third and fourth a couple of times throughout this year, not just here in Wagga, but at other events, and have forfeited that. They decided to play their third and fourth playoff match this time around, and they won it, beating Make It Rain to get third place. So congratulations to those guys. Yeah, I think the format really worked. 4 players per team, 10 boxes of paint, capped out at that. You got to play 7 prelims. I think it was race to 2. It was only 6-minute clocks. I thought the field layout that I sort of came up with was going to be really, really quick, and that the games would be going by quickly and teams wouldn't be too concerned about using up all their paint. The first point, the very first point of the weekend, featuring Southeast Cartel, went for like 3 minutes, 59 seconds or something to that effect. I thought, oh man, what have I done with this field layout? But after that game got out of the way, things started really rolling. The event picked up pace. Games were quite fast. There was rundowns. There was sneaky moves up through the middle. Everything about it, from my perspective, as the event organizer, went great. Spoke with Chris Thomas, head ref. He said he had nobody complain to him the whole day or question a call, which as a ref, that's about the best you can hope for. The players told me on majority of occasions, the people that I asked said the paint was great. I had one guy said that he had a bit of issues, but if that might have been the outlier rather than the rule. So yeah, really, really cool event over the weekend. I think if I do it again in October along a similar format, which is probably the way that I'm leaning at the moment for the event, I think it's October 22nd, I'll probably add a 9th or potentially 10th team to that, because all of the teams, after their 7 prelims, we had teams with 1 and 2 boxes of paint left over. So the option is there to give them an extra game whilst not costing them any more money. So 10 boxes of paint, but playing 8 prelims, for example. So that's the plan at this stage. And Connor saying, I think it's the longest point we had. Yeah, it was the longest point of the weekend. The first of the day. The first point of the whole day was the longest point by far. I don't think many went over 2 minutes for the most part. But yeah, that one was almost 4. So big, long, drawn-out point to start the weekend. But yeah, a lot of fun. I did joke that I hadn't heard any bad feedback at the end of yesterday, and that anybody that had bad feedback could probably drop it in the comments tonight. But I haven't seen that. So hopefully that stays away. And Gaddy saying our first game, the paint was a bit bouncy, but it was great for the rest of the day. And yeah, well, I mean, from, again, my perspective, being out there filming, doing a little bit of reffing, most people, they were hitting their shots pretty early. You weren't having to put out a massive stream to get your kills. You could find your targets pretty quickly. That was evident from my view, and you'll see that on some of the footage that I've shared around. So events coming up this weekend. Oh, and obviously I don't get to talk about my events all that often. We only do a couple of years. But thank you to everyone who came and who considers ever coming to Wagga for our events. Just about every team has to travel to play here. We've only got 2 local teams, essentially. So it's huge for everyone. Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, Dubbo, all around to make their way to Wagga to play our events. Events coming up this weekend. The Australian Bushball Masters. There is 4 teams playing this one at Heartbreak Ridge. They have added an extra player to the format this time around, John tells me. So that is a change that you will see at this one. The Bush Pigs will be there. That is not a change. The flag station and the field that you will be playing on have changed, or one of the fields that you will be playing on. I think they play across multiple fields for these events. So John has been putting in a whole bunch of work for this one. It was looking like they were going to have a 5th team, which didn't eventuate, I'm told. That may yet change. I'm not sure if he's shut down registrations as far as that is concerned. But one thing I have learnt, and I've known John O'Collins for a few years now, but getting to know John a bit better this year, from him playing my events and running into him at Paintball Shop and other things. Jono is a real good dude, and the feedback from his events is quality stuff too. So if you want to go and play a good social event, the Australian Bushball Masters is one that you should look forward to. And in fact, there is also a 7-man event coming up in November at Heartbreak Ridge that I'm trying to piece together an Asylum team to go and play. And if I can't get the numbers for an Asylum team on its own, well, I might put the call out for other players from anywhere to come in and join us to play that one. The Australian Bushball is only on the one field. Yeah, okay. And Billy saying, lately the paint in Australia has been pretty decent. Yeah, I've not had as many complaints in the last sort of 12 to 18 months as I had like pre-COVID around 2018-ish, maybe going back 5 years. There was a couple of events sort of back to back and in different locations. I remember an NXL in Queensland got like horrible reviews when it was known as TAC Ops Paintball, and they were still doing NXL up there. The paint, it was essentially unplayable. There was an NXL in Victoria that was similar once upon a time. Yeah, I haven't had any horror stories like that in a long time. So thankfully, we're on a pretty good streak of decent paint for events that we've had over the last little while. So that's the Australian Bushball Masters coming up. There is also in Sydney, just across town, and this is, if you're not interested in playing the Bushball Masters, this event was replacing the Yarra 10-man that was postponed off of this date. Paintball Shop and Action Paintball have put this one together. It is 15 BPS, 3-man tournament, only $150 to enter your team for this. It is essentially a tournament, a 3-man tournament, rather than training, just for something different for the local players. Mike said this morning that they had 3 or 4 teams already registered, and he was expecting another 3 or 4 to sign up for the weekend. So he was hoping for 7 or 8. If you haven't already registered for that, make sure you do so soon so that they can work out exactly how many teams are going to be there and get everything organized that they need to. He didn't want to, he said that Mike supplies the paint, obviously, for any of the events at Action Paintball, but also for Heartbreak Ridge. So he wasn't trying to compete there, but I guess it's 2 different styles of play, the Bushball Masters and a 3-man sup-air tournament. So you've got 2 options up in Sydney this weekend. Find your way out to whatever suits you best. And then down in Victoria, the NXL Victoria. So they've attempted to have 2 rounds this year so far. The first was cancelled with a lack of team numbers. The second was turned into, which this photo is from, was turned into more of a social day that 30 players showed up and they went out and scrimmed rather than having an event. There was teams that weren't full. There was new players. There was players returning from like 10 and 15-year hiatuses who just went out and played some social paintball. So there hasn't been a tournament in Victoria this year so far. So they reduced it to 3-man for the remainder of 2023. So there's an event this weekend and then one in September. As of earlier today, there was only 3 teams registered. So Victoria, which has taken the biggest hit off the back of COVID, really still struggling there. But I have seen players posting online that they're looking for teams and looking for players. Sarah Birch said that she believes there's a couple of throw-together teams that are just finalising their player rosters and getting organised to register for that one. If you're down that way and you can make it out to the event, I encourage you to do it. It's the only thing going on down there in Victoria at the moment. So if you want to be playing paintball, that's where you have to be doing it. Or training at Sniper's Den, obviously being the other option for you at the moment. But go out and play the events at Coldstream. Hopefully things will get better. Tori is in for Lachlan from PPG, running theme throughout the comments of tonight's show. And Lachlan saying 15 BPS is hectic. Yeah, it certainly is, especially for a 3-man. But I believe they'll be setting up essentially a full field. So good luck to everyone playing at at all of the events just mentioned there, the Australian Bushball Masters, the Action Paintball 3-man, the Throw Together 3-man there, and the NXL Victoria, which will hopefully get a few more teams signed up late and go ahead. Got to mention a couple of things. Events here, July 29 and 30, the NXL Townsville is coming up. I think they said they've got 6 teams confirmed for that one and possibly a 7th, which is good. NXL WA, spoke with Timmy Colgan spoke with, sent him a text earlier, and he sent back, and they still don't have their new bunkers. So that's why it is July 30th, hopefully for the NXL WA. I guess just check in. If you're from WA, check in with Timmy throughout the week. Check in with me again here next Monday, and I'll have another update for you. Hopefully there is more news on that, and good news, so you guys can get out and play tournament in WA, because I know the existing field that you've been playing and training on is in a sad state at the moment. And as someone with a brand new field who just ran an event on it, having a new field is an absolute lifesaver. And I can only imagine how much you guys are looking forward to getting that over there in WA. So they are the events coming up over the next couple of weekends, in addition to what I've already mentioned there. And the Malaysian Xball League also has their Division 3 coming up this weekend, but I didn't get any info on that to do a preview. Quick mention for some birthdays here. Now, Kai, I don't know Kai, who plays for STK Entourage, but when I was putting this little graphic together for the birthdays, and it is his birthday tomorrow, I noticed the KGB initials there, and I don't think with that surname he's Russian. I don't know if he wants to play on that and put it on a jersey or something, but I feel like you can come up with something pretty cool there with those initials. So maybe just planting that seed for someone more creative like a Chris Dickens to come up with something. For Kai there, Archer Asawan celebrating a birthday, Dave Bursul, and lots of WA birthdays, Scotty Hola, Doc from Kenyan Paintball over there in Malaysia, and then Rel from the mid-north coast, Coughs there somewhere, all celebrating birthdays this week. So happy birthday to all of those guys. I've just updated over here also down the bottom the prizes that will be given away at the beginning of next month. There'll be 2 Anthrax deployment backpacks. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago on the show, I went away for 4 days on a little trip with the family, and I didn't take a suitcase or a duffel bag. I took the Anthrax deployment bag. Really good bit of gear to own. If you don't win one, or if you're not a patron of the show, I recommend becoming a patron of the show. Do that, patreon.com/PBHQ. It's not all too much to sign up, and you do me a massive favor in keeping this show running, and you can win cool prizes too. But go to Anthrax's website and buy one of these backpacks. It's one of my favorite bits of gear from a company that make incredible gear, head to toe, as well as accessories. So that will be given away at the beginning of next month. If you want the full prize list with what is remaining for the rest of this year, in August or September, I'll be giving away 3 boxes of paint for the August prize winner, a pod bag with 50 pods the following month, and then the Carbon SC Pro bottoms. And for everyone who has remained a patron of the show from January through until November and December, you go in the draw for those major prizes. Tanks for your whole team, and a $2,000 shopping spree from paintballshop.com. Dan saying, I'll buy the purple one off the winner. Yeah, okay. Well, you could also just buy the purple one from Anthrax. They are quite popular also. They also come in a couple of other colors, red, and I think they've got like a navy bluish sort of color, and they definitely have a tan one. The winner, I don't have a black and a purple here. The winner will get to choose based on what's in stock with Anthrax at the time. So they are your options at the moment. Billy saying that him and Wade will be playing in the 3-man. And Luke saying, happy birthday, Lana, 4th of this month. I missed it. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Well, yeah, happy birthday, Lana, and thanks for spending what would have been the weekend closest to your birthday down here in cold Wagga camping at the field. Hope you enjoyed that. What a treat for your birthday. That's pretty much everything I've got for tonight. Thank you for joining in for the show, guys. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel again. Keep an eye out for more shorts. I'm going to be posting a bunch of those throughout the week, all the footage from the Wagga foreplay, and hopefully I've got the footage from the local news here too to share around and get the word out. Until next Monday.